Hi, I'm Rabbi Bertie Becker. This is the PJ Library, People in Your Neighborhood. I'm going to read for you today The Shofar Must Go On, written by Lena Schwartz and illustrated by Yang Chen. One bright autumn afternoon, Harry visited an apple orchard with the other kids in Mr. Nelson's first grade class. It was just a few days before Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. Harry collected red, yellow, and speckled apples and put each one gently into a small basket. He loved the sweet smell of the apples and the hollow sound they made when he bit into them, and he loved the rustling of the leaves above his head. It was a perfect day. Well, almost. There was just one problem. Harry's mom wasn't there. Last year, she had held him up high to pick apples that he couldn't reach. He remembered spending a lot of time with his mom before Rosh Hashanah, making applesauce and coloring holiday cards while his dad practiced blowing the shofar. But this year, his mom was away, and she wouldn't be back until Rosh Hashanah. Harry could reach lots of apples on his own now. He had grown almost 3 inches since his last trip to the orchard, but he missed his mom anyway. When Harry's dad picked him up that afternoon, he was coughing a little. His cheeks looked like 2 shiny pink apples. "Did we get any mail from Mom today?" Harry asked as they climbed the stairs to their apartment. "Sure did. She even sent a picture of the concert hall where she's going to play. Wait till you see." Harry's dad put some water in the tea kettle, coughed as he loosened his tie, and plopped down at the computer to download the picture. "Wow, I'm beat." "Are you okay, Dad? You look sort of, well, I don't know." "Sure. I just have a little cough. I have to stay healthy if I'm going to blow the ram's horn at Rosh Hashanah services, right?" "Right. But what's a ram's horn? Do you mean the shofar?" Harry's dad answered as he turned on the computer. "Yep. The shofar is the curly horn of a ram. Way before computers and telephones were invented, people used a ram's horn to send important messages, like the crowning of a new king. Now, around Rosh Hashanah, the shofar tells us to wake up and pay attention because a new year is coming. And they remind us to think about what we can do to make the new year the best it can be." Harry nodded, and his eyes grew round as a picture appeared above the screen. "Wow. Will there be people in all those seats at Mom's concert?" "I don't know, but we'll hear about it when she cuts home." That evening, Harry's dad wasn't feeling up to practicing the shofar, and the next day he stayed home from work. On Saturday, Harry went to Shabbat services with his Uncle Ned. His dad stayed home. Rabbi Josh looked concerned when Harry told him that his dad was in bed with a cold. "Harry, I sure hope our shofar blower is feeling better soon," said Rabbi Josh. "But I'll try to find somebody who could take your dad's place, just in case." Harry's mom called after her concert the next day, and Rabbi Josh stopped by to see how things were going. "Well, Rabbi," Harry's dad answered, "I'm still pretty sniffly." Rabbi Josh sounded a little worried as he said, "You know, I asked around yesterday for someone who might be able to blow the shofar on Tuesday morning. I haven't found anybody, though. You've been doing it every year since before Harry was born. I know, and I'll find some way not to let you down, Rabbi, sighed Harry's dad, and the sigh turned into a cough. Harry patted the shofar that had been sitting on the shelf for 3 days. He even whispered to it, "I'll make sure you get played somehow. Don't worry." Harry had been looking forward to Monday all week. Not only was it Erev Rosh Hashanah, it was also the day that Harry's mom was coming home. And to top it all off, Harry's dad was finally feeling well enough to practice the shofar again. Harry's mom and dad both picked him up after school. When they got home, there was a surprise waiting for Harry on the kitchen table. He opened the small package to find a sky blue t-shirt with a picture of a sparkling apple tree. Its branches stretched all around the arms and back of the shirt. In fact, it was shaped a lot like the hug Harry gave his mom. "Thanks." "Shana Tova, Harry. Have a sweet new year," answered his mom. "I really missed going with you to the orchard. Next year, I'll be with you at apple picking time again," she promised. Just then, a strange sound came from the next room. Harry and his mom peeked around the corner to see what was going on. Harry's dad was holding the shofar, and he looked confused. "Is there something stuck in here?" he asked, peering through the small end of the horn, and then through the big end. "Is it broken?" "Looks fine to me," said Harry's mom, looking over his shoulder at the shofar. "Maybe you're just not blowing quite as hard as you did before. It's not easy when you take a few days off from practicing." When Harry's dad gave it another try, an airy hum filled the room. It sounded more like a vacuum cleaner than the proud call of the shofar. The family looked around at each other silently. After a minute, Harry's dad took another big breath and blew. But this time, the only sound that came out was a loud, "Ouch!" Harry's dad grabbed the side of his head. "My ear just popped." "That's really bad," comforted Harry's mom. "I'm sorry." "You practiced so hard and sounded so good when I left last week. Better than ever, I thought." Harry nodded in agreement. "There's nothing you can do about getting a cold." "Don't worry," she said thoughtfully. "We'll find a solution." "But I've got to play tomorrow morning," protested Harry's dad. "Rabbi Josh already asked the congregation, and nobody else volunteered to take over." "Well, blowing the shofar is a very important job," Harry's mom said. They were probably worried that they wouldn't be able to do it well, especially on short notice. "You know, that happened to me once before a concert." And her voice trailed off. "Wait a minute, Mom," said Harry suddenly. "You play the trumpet. You have to blow really hard to get the sound out. Maybe you can play the shofar." Harry's mom opened her eyes wide with surprise. "Well, now that you mention it," she said, "it's funny that I've never tried. You know, you might be right. Maybe I can do it." She picked up the shofar and, after cleaning off the mouthpiece so that she wouldn't get a cold too, took a deep breath. She closed her eyes and blew the shofar. The sound that came out was pure and rich. Harry grinned with pleasure. His dad leaned back into the cushions and sighed with relief. For the rest of the afternoon, Harry listened as his dad explained the different sounds of the shofar to his mom. Harry especially liked the 9 short bursts of note called Trua, and the long, loud Tekiah Gedolah. Harry could see his dad was happy, especially when he called Rabbi Josh and said, "Problem solved, Rabbi. We have Harry to thank for a splendid idea." The next morning, once he was dressed and ready to leave for the synagogue, Harry gave the ram's horn a happy little pat and whispered, "I told you everything would be okay." Rosh Hashanah had finally arrived. It was time for new beginnings, for fresh-picked apples and honey, and in Harry's dad case, a time for lots of hot tea. The sun was climbing high as Harry and his family joined lots of others entering the synagogue. Harry carried the shofar for his mom. He sat down between his parents and Uncle Ned, slipped into a nearby seat. As Rabbi Josh announced the blowing of the shofar, the whole congregation turned to smile at Harry's family. When Harry's mom rose from her place and walked to the bima, there was a quiet gasp of surprise, followed by excited whispers. Harry looked at his dad and Uncle Ned as the rabbi spoke. As many of us already know, a cold is keeping our usual musician from blowing the shofar this year, but we're thankful to have an expert replacement. Let's rise to hear the call of the shofar. Harry's mom took a deep breath and his dad stifled a cough. The sound was spectacular, but Harry decided that it was time for him to start practicing the shofar, just in case. The four calls are Tekiah, Shvarim, Trua, and Tekiah Gedolah. If you'll call for me, I'll blow the shofar for you. Tekiah, Shvarim, Trua, Tekiah Gedolah. Ready? Again, we do it again. And one more time. Tekiah, Shvarim, Trua, and then at the end, Tekiah Gedolah. L'Shana Tova to you all.